Welcome to demonstration on managing your fleet with TireAngel. From the home page, select Manage Your Fleet. And then basically the basic login screen, enter your user and password. This will bring up your fleet view, which basically lists all the vehicles in your fleet. If you look at this, we have basically 120 vehicles or 120 items, and we have 6 pages of 20 vehicles. So basically you can then page through all these vehicles, and here we have the vehicle code, the vehicle type, the last time updated, vehicle status, health score, and organizational name. And then from here on the top, you can then enter value and then filter for individual records or groups of records. If you want to see all buses or cars or tractor trailers, you just select from these particular filters, and then you can then basically run a filter against this list. Okay, so basically how we recommend you use the system is first you sort by vehicle status. And this will bring up all the alert. These where the current status is in alert. So here we have a vehicle. The first one we're going to look at is this particular bus, and then we could then bring up the configuration, and the configuration, it lists all its wheels. So basically here we have basically 1A, which is the left front wheel, 1D, which is the front right wheel, 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D. And then we can see that basically the fourth wheel, we have basically an alert status. Okay, basically we move to the right, we see that it is a high pressure alert. Yes, an high pressure alert. So we come back here, we can then basically see that the standard pressure is 115, the low pressure alert is 100, which is 15% below the standard code pressure, and it's 144 for the high pressure alert, which is 25% above the standard code pressure. The current temperature is 73, and the current pressure is 145. So that 145 is greater than 144, which then means that the tire right now has a high pressure alert. All the alert, and then basically if you collect on the pressure chart, we can see that that particular tire here is just marginally above, is in the red, which is your high pressure alert in our pressure chart. And the pressure chart has 2 red bands, which is basically this 25% above your standard code pressure value here, and then this band here, this red here, is 20% below your standard code pressure, which is your run flat area. And each band represents 5% below the standard code pressure. So you can easily identify your particular situation, the situation with the tires. Then basically we can then basically go and choose each vehicle quickly, and then you see the second one, we can check the configuration, and then you can see again here we have basically all the 6 wheels, and then we have another vehicle, we have another red tire here, and then we can then move to the right, and again we have a high pressure alert. So this particular tire was high pressure. And then here we have another situation here, and this one's different. It's alert, and it has a health score of 0. So the health score of 0, we can then go check the configuration, and we can then see that basically that we have 4 tires that are in alert. Okay, and then we come over here, we see that low pressure alert, yes, 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 yes. So basically these are all low pressure alerts. Again, the standard code pressure is 115 over here, and then the low pressure alert is 100. The current pressure is basically 98, 99, 94, and over here, and then this one is 100, and then basically it's right at the low pressure alert. And then basically we look at the chart, you can see that the pressures are running in basically in the yellow area. And the yellow area is beyond, basically is more than 15% below the low pressure, that's your is standard code pressure, which is the basic low pressure alert situation. And you see over here we have more tires over here that are in the alert situation. Okay, so basically we then go through each particular alert, and then I guess you will instruct your staff or put work to get these particular tires taken care of. Here we have a fourth one, and here we have this particular tire here, and again, oops, this particular tire, and this tire here we have, yes, high pressure alert. Okay, so then this one we can then look at the pressure chart, and then you can see that basically one of the tires is just touching the high pressure alert. Okay, so then basically let's go back and then let's take a look at how you would basically grade your tires, all your vehicles now. Okay, so if I sort by health score, I can see basically I have a bunch of vehicles that have 0. Okay, then I see more vehicles that are 0. Okay, and then I have a bunch of vehicles that are 50. Okay, and then basically then I have a bunch of vehicles here that are 75. And then here, starting from this particular point, these vehicles are all healthy. And if I take a look at one of the healthy ones, I can then see in the configuration that basically the current pressure is well within the range that we are looking for. Okay, so basically if I currently take a look at the pressure chart, which is basically will show me the pressure within the last 24 hours, you see again how basically the vehicle starts off cold in the morning and then starts to rise through the day and drops and rise. So we then look at it for 7 days. You can see again it starts off cool, it rises, and it drops, it works, and these are the working periods of this particular tire. If you look at for 30 days, you can then see the chart basically of how these tires are actually behaving over 30 days. Okay, so let's get all the goal is to get all our tires and all our wheels in optimum situation. So let's go. The first one we'll address will be all the health score 0. So if I put in a 0 here and then I enter, basically it shows me I have basically that I have 46 items that health score 0. Okay, these are I guess the lowest situation. So I first select the first one and I look at this particular vehicle. I can see that basically the vehicle's current pressure and current temperature, that everything looks normal. But what's actually happening with that particular vehicle is that during the day when it was operating, some of the tires was below optimum. Okay, so basically you see that some of the pressure was below normal. Then I could take a look at the pressure over the 3 and 30 days. So you see that basically the tire pressure has been low. Okay, but certain times when say it comes back from the garage, it may be heated up. It doesn't look, everything looks fine. So that when you look at the day, it starts off low, but then when it comes back to the garage, the pressure has risen, and then basically the current pressure is 108. You can see that the current pressure is all within the low pressure and high pressure alert, but basically within the last 24 hours, basically these pressures were actually below the low pressure alert. So basically meaning that maybe in the morning the pressures was over here, but then basically right now it came back to the garage and then there was 108 or 105 or 104. So in this particular situation, we recommend that this part you want to add a little bit of air into these particular tires to make sure that the pressure is in an optimum situation. Okay, so then that one's finished, and then let's take a look at some other ones. Okay, so then here again, this particular pressure chart, we'll take a look at this particular pressure chart, and this one is very similar to the other one. Okay, let's go back to your fleet status, and let's search for 50 next. 50 means that basically some tires during the last 24 hours are running basically between 15 and 10% below tire pressure. If I select one of the vehicles and I check the configuration, again, it shows you that basically all the tires are normal. But if you look over here, the lowest pressure within the last 24 hours, see some of the pressure is a little bit below your standard cold pressure. You see this is 105 and 115. 115 is where you really want the lowest pressure within the last 24 hours to be. So if I look at the pressure chart, you see that I have a few tires that are actually running in this particular area, in the cooler area region. If I look at the data for 7 days, you can see it's more clearer. You see some of the when it comes into the garage, some of the wheels are actually cool. It goes out and working and it heats up. It comes back and it cools down. So basically what's happening is that I want these lines to be in the gray area. Okay, and that would be keep my tires at basically plus or minus 5% from the standard cold pressure, which is optimum. Okay, so basically then you would then go through that particular list, and then we could take a look at 75. In 75 I have 20 vehicles that has a health score of 75. So if I select one of the vehicles and I look at the pressure, I can then see that again all the status says is normal. Okay, but if you look at the lowest pressure within the last 24 hours, I have a few that are right in the boundaries over here. So if I look, you know, to the person looking at these numbers, they may not see what the chart is going to show you. Now if you look at the chart now, you can then see that in the beginning of the day, some of the tires are flirting with the basically in the blue area. And the blue area tells me that it's between 5 and 10% below the standard cold pressure. See, that the goal with this color-coded chart is that you don't need to know the exact pressure that you need for the particular tires. But by looking at the pressure over the 24-hour period, you can then see where the pressure is, which the optimum pressure should be. Okay, so then after you go through all the particular vehicles that way, and then you're pretty much done. And then the goal is to then basically is to get all these particular vehicles like this. So basically the optimum situation, let me just sort, and then basically we'll show you some 100. So basically this is the optimum scenario when I check the configuration, and then I can then see the particular vehicle. It shows me that all my wheel positions, the current pressure, the current temperature, the standard cold pressure, which is for that particular wheel, and then the lowest pressure within the 24 hours. And you see here 112, 115. That's a good value there because it's right plus or minus 5%. So if I take a look at the pressure chart for this particular wheel here, you can see that basically the lines are all inside the gray. If I look at for 7 days, you see sometimes when it's cool, it's right in that 5% area, which is very, very good. Then it starts working, and then it comes down and it starts to cool, and it starts working and it starts to cool. And then basically from here, all of this data is available, and I can see that basically from using this particular fleet view, you can then basically figure out what vehicles need to be addressed, and then basically when they get down to the vehicle, they just need to see this particular configuration page. So like say, let's take a look at say 50, and then how they would actually work with this system. When they get to the actual vehicle, this one here, these tires need a little bit more air. If I check this particular vehicle, and I'm over there servicing this vehicle, I see that the current pressure says this. But then I see that within the 24 hours, this is where the lowest pressure was about 107, 104. And this is standard cold pressure. So on this particular tire, I would say we should add about 10 psi to that particular tire. So that basically, when we basically add 10 more psi to that tire, what will happen is that these lines will all shift up. Okay, all these lines will all shift up now, and then basically the the performance of the tire will be optimized. Thank you very much.